Hi, welcome parents. My name is Andrew Foose. I'll be teaching AP Economics this coming year with your students here at James Madison High School. I wanted to send you this video to introduce myself and to give you a little bit of background about the course in advance of back to school night so that we can spend most of our time kind of answering whatever specific questions you may have about how the class operates. And so I also want to give you a sense for how our class will actually operate during the course of the year, because I do use the flipped classroom model, and I will show you in a moment what Blackboard looks like so that you can get a sense for what materials are available and what resources are available for your kids as we move forward in this flipped classroom model. I would like to say briefly that the course is broken into three different parts. Students will study microeconomics in the fall and macroeconomics in the winter and spring. Both sections of this class will prepare them to take the AP exam in those two subject areas. And then once the AP exam is done, we'll take a deeper look at personal finance and some of the areas related to personal finance like savings, budgeting, credit, and insurance. The class does not require a whole lot of math, so rest easy. It's not advanced math. At this level, the only math that our students really need to be able to do to calculate percent change, to calculate the area of a rectangle, to calculate area of a rectangle, and that'll be about it. When it comes to the flip class, I want to let you know that I have put as many materials as possible to help your kids succeed. The flipped classroom, as many of you may know, is a little bit different in the sense that lectures are posted on YouTube ahead of time. I don't do a traditional lecture in class. Instead, I have kids work on problem sets in class so they get a sense of what the multiple choice questions and free response questions will look like on exams for my class as well as the AP exam. And so the lectures should be watched as homework at home, and then we'll do what is traditionally homework in class, which gives me an opportunity to work directly with your kids on a one-on-one basis to help make sure that they actually understand the material and can actually use it in the way that it needs to be used to be successful on the AP exam. And so the lectures are about 10 to 12 minutes in length. They are on YouTube videos. I ask that the kids watch them the night before class and take notes, and then come into class with questions they have about the stuff that didn't quite make sense to them or that they want more assistance with. So what does that look like on Blackboard? What it looks like is here's our AP Micro Materials section, and the macro section is very similar. And we could pick a folder like Unit 3 Consumer Choice, and I can click on that folder, and that would bring me to each of the days within that unit. And so I've broken the unit into multiple days, and each day is listed here on the Blackboard site. Each day has a link to the lecture notes. So if I were to actually give a traditional lecture, then you would have access to those lecture notes that I would have used. So if your student wants to have access to teacher notes, here they are. And in those lecture notes, you'll find that the page numbers that are being covered in the lecture are listed here so that you and your kids know where in the book they need to go to read to get a better understanding of the material. Also available are the PowerPoint slides that I would have used had I done the lecture in class, the PowerPoint slides that are available in the video. There's also access to the problem sets that they would have completed in class. And so I have copies of these problem sets in class. If they wanted to do them at home, if they missed a day for some reason because they were sick or on vacation, you have access to the materials we did in class. You have a QR code in the upper left-hand corner, so if your kids have a smartphone with a QR reader, they can actually scan that code, and that would bring them to the answer key for that set of problems. And so this will give your kids an opportunity to self-grade how they're doing, to chart how well they actually understand the material. A lot of kids think they get it. They get into a couple of problems. They realize they're on the right track and everything's great. Sometimes they do a couple of problems and they're getting the wrong answers and they go, oh, geez, I need some help. They have the opportunity to kind of track that for themselves and then seek me out for the assistance that they need on the problems they can't quite get a handle on. You may also notice in the answer key, some of these have hyperlinks. These hyperlinks will lead them to a YouTube video that shows me using a document camera to answer the questions, and I kind of walk through the logic behind the answer and how I approached it in order to get the right answer. And so if your kids are struggling, this is another opportunity for them, or another resource for them to try and get a handle on how to answer these types of questions. Also, if we're in the classroom together, they don't have to wait for me. If I'm helping some other kids, they can have direct access to helpful information. So let me click on this. I'll give you a brief look at what that would look like. Okay, there are two ways to go about answering this question. One would be to just use the midpoint method to calculate the price elasticity of demand. And so hopefully you get just a good sense of what's available to your kids. Like I said, there's also that video to the YouTube, link to the YouTube video. This would be the lecture. They'd click on this and watch lecture, taking notes in class, pausing and rewinding for those sections they didn't quite get. If they can get it in one take, fabulous. If they need to go back, they have that resource. And that's the beautiful thing about this, right? You can't rewind a teacher in real life, but you can rewind me all you want on YouTube, and it's not going to bother me. You can pause me for hours, and it's not going to bother me. So that video is available to them. They should watch that video prior to class every night. They should fill out the response form here with their name and their class period. And what I'll do is look at particularly this question here, the two things that they did not understand or like for further clarification on. I'll try as the best of my ability to go individually to your kids and talk to them directly about the things that they needed help with. And so I can do that if they do the response form. So please encourage your kids to do that for me. So not only does it help them to kind of reinforce what they understood from the video, but it helps me to give them the specific instruction that they need to be successful. The last big thing here is my grading scale, because it is slightly different. Again, a lot of my colleagues are sort of moving in the same direction that I'm at in using what's called the 4-point scale, but not every parent has experienced that yet. What the 4-point scale is essentially quality points. It's trying to eliminate all the gradations within an A. So instead of saying a 94 or a 95, if you get a score that falls within this kind of A category, you're going to find that your kid's going to get a 4.0 in the grade book. Okay? And so the way you should think of that is sort of as qualitative in nature, that an A represents somebody who has advanced knowledge and understanding of the material that is demonstrated all of the time. Whereas a B would be someone who has advanced knowledge and understanding of the material most of the time. There's obviously some mistakes there because they're not getting 100% or 94% on the test, but they're pretty knowledgeable and they've got a pretty good grasp on the material, more than just sort of a passing understanding. A C, think of that in terms of being proficient. They have a good understanding of the material. There are some weaknesses there. They don't always demonstrate a higher level understanding. It's not that it's bad, all right? It's just proficient with the material. And then anything below that would be less than basic proficiency, and that would be an indication that we need some remediation to do and some work to do to bring that level of understanding up to a more proficient standing. So you're going to see numbers, either 4.0, 3.3, 2.3 on the grade book. And so hopefully you'll see the grading scale on the syllabus as well. You'll be able to correlate what that number means in terms of letter grades. Last thing is, if you need to get a hold of me, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of through email. I would strongly encourage you to use that as a primary source of communication with me. I'm available during Warhawk time or after school. Please have your kids email me or see me personally. We'll be happy to schedule a time where we can get together and provide them with whatever assistance they need. If you would like to speak with me on the phone, I think the best way to do that, honestly, is to send me an email to tell me that you'd like to talk in person and let me know what times are best for you, and so I can try and meet that schedule for you and give you a call when it's convenient. So please use the email as much as you can, and then we can talk in person when necessary. I'm happy to do that. Thank you very much for listening to the video and for experiencing some of this flipped classroom for yourself. Please come with questions when we get together at Back to School Night. I'd be happy to answer those for you, and I look forward to seeing you then.